This is WWE's Jerry the King Lawler. And Mountain Empire, this is your wrestling.
Fall has fell and the temperature has dropped here in the Mountain Empire. Hello everybody, it's your old friend Beau James. Some people like to call me the King of Kingsport, and we are just 7 days away. 1 week from right now, National Guard Armed Forces Center Armory down there in Mount Carmel, Tennessee, just outside of Kingsport. Southern States Wrestling Fall Spectacular as we celebrate 30 years of the Rock and Roll Express. We celebrate my 25 years in the sport of professional wrestling. We're going to talk about that later up in the program, but I want to talk about the future. I want to talk about the present of Southern States Wrestling. I'm talking about the heavyweight champion Eric Darkstorm. I'm talking about Kyle Matthews. These two men have been going at it for over a year now. They have not settled the score. Darkstorm continuously mocks Kyle Matthews for his size. He continuously makes fun of him. He says he'll never shake his hand. He'll never show him any respect. And he says Kyle Matthews will never beat him again. Kyle Matthews says after next Sunday in Mount Carmel, Eric Darkstorm, you're going to shake his hand. You're going to respect him because he's coming here for one reason, and that is to beat you and take away that title. It's Kyle Matthews' last shot. If he doesn't win it here, if he doesn't beat Darkstorm here, it's over with. Let's take a look at some history between Kyle Matthews and Eric Darkstorm.
I'm the man, and I'm the greatest champion in the history of Southern States Wrestling. I guarantee this, I will not go down to a midget.
But Eric Darkstorm, I will be back. And I don't need fancy sunglasses. I don't need fancy sayings. I just need one more chance. One more chance, and I will beat you. And when it's all said and done, you will respect me.
There you saw just some of the action that Kyle Matthews and Eric Darkstorm have delivered in their 3 previous matchups. And I know November 3rd, 1 week from today, it's going to be just as hard-hitting. They're going to be kicking each other just as hard as you saw in that video. They're going to be going at each other just with everything they got because each one of them has to prove something. Darkstorm wants to prove he's the greatest Southern States Wrestling heavyweight champion of all time. It's a matter of respect for Kyle Matthews because he wants to prove he's just as good as you, Eric Darkstorm, or maybe even better. He's on your playing field. It's a matter of tradition for whoever leaves that ring with that title that has been held by the Mongolian Stomper, by Jimmy Golden, by Tracy Smothers, by myself, Ricky Harrison, Mike Sampson, GQ Stratus, and we can name on and on and on of men that's held that belt over the last 22 years. That is the most prestigious belt right here in the Southern States, and both men are going to go at it with everything they've got. And just like you that'll be buying a ticket, sit ringside, I'm going to have one of the best seats because I'm going to be sitting up close watching it myself with Joe Wheeler calling the action. Now let's talk about another title that's coming back to the Southern States region here. I'm talking about the Television title has been dormant since we've been off of TV. Back on TV, we're going to crown a new champion. You look at this title and the history that it's had. Ray Idol, television title, first title he ever won. It catapulted him right up the rankings, right up there to the #1 contender for the Southern States title. Look how many times he's had it. Frank Parker, Southern States television title. I have had that title. Jimmy Golden has had that title. It is a prestigious title. And what I want to do right now is take a look at some of the men that's already entered into the Southern States Wrestling television title. We start the first round in Mount Carmel next Sunday.
If you are part of a non-profit organization, listen to this. You now have the opportunity to bring the wrestling TV stars to your town and make money for your group. Over the past 2 decades, Southern States Wrestling has helped raise money for church groups, schools, ball teams, volunteer fire departments, children's hospitals, Ronald McDonald House, scout troops, and many more. Our staff is waiting to hear from you and get started on what could be your biggest fundraiser to date. Southern States Wrestling and your group are the perfect tag team to raise the funds you need.
Calvary Baptist Church, 1238 Pine Street, Kingsport, Tennessee. Regular schedule of services: Sunday, 9:15 a.m. for Bible study fellowship class for all ages. 10:30 a.m. worship. 6 p.m. blast for children, wake for youth. Sunday night life for adults. Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. children and youth activities. 3D Bible study for adults.
Southern States Wrestling presents the Fall Spectacular, 30 Years of Rockin'. Special day and time, Sunday, November 3rd, 6 o'clock, Armed Forces Center Armory, 399 Highway 11W, Mount Carmel, Tennessee. Just minutes from Kingsport. We will be celebrating Beau James' 25 years in wrestling with an outstanding card. The only way to see all the action is to be there. Main events will not be on TV. In the main event, celebrating 30 years as a tag team, the legendary Rock and Roll Express Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson defend the North American tag titles versus the Southern States champions Frank Parker and Scott Sterling. The Southern States title will be on the line as international sensation Kyle Matthews gets his last shot at Champion Eric Darkstorm. In a grudge tag match, Beau James teams with his nephew Jake Booth to settle the score with J.D. Anderson and Brett Mulligan. The first round of TV title tournament starts as the pride of Orangeburg, South Carolina, DeAndre Jackson tests his skills versus Mr. Hollywood, Kyle Cool. The Southern States Ladies title will be on the line as champion Misty James defends versus a top contender. Longtime area favorite Thorne makes his SSW return. Alex Payne Stratton makes his long-awaited SSW debut. All of this and a lot more. VIP tickets go on sale Monday, October 21st at Evermore Comics on Eastman Road in Kingsport. Save $3 buying in advance. VIP tickets include meet and greet, front row seat, and a souvenir program. Kids general admission tickets are only $5. That's the Southern States Wrestling Fall Spectacular 30 Years of Rockin' with the legendary Rock and Roll Express Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson. Special day and time Sunday, November 3rd at 6 o'clock, the Armed Forces Center Armory, 399 Highway 11W, Mount Carmel, Tennessee, just west of Kingsport. Be there!
And we're going to keep telling you as the program goes on today. Big Stone Gap, Virginia this coming Saturday night, and 1 week from tonight, next Sunday night, Mount Carmel, Tennessee, Rock and Roll Express, 30 Years of Rockin' Tour. It's the Southern States Wrestling Fall Spectacular. Big Stone Gap, it's Legends Night. Handsome Jimmy the Boogie Woogie Man Valiant's also going to be in Big Stone Gap. It's a big time weekend for wrestling around the Mountain Empire. The Rock and Roll Express comes back to defend the North American Tag Team titles against the Southern States Wrestling Tag Team Champions. I'm talking Frank Parker and Scott Sterling. Last week we heard from Scott. We saw a profile on Scott. Well, this week we're going to profile Frank Parker, and I want to go back and hear those words from Scott Sterling again, because he had some big words for the Rock and Roll Express. Here it is. Profile Frank the Tank Parker, Mr. Destruction.
Standing 6 foot 3 inches tall and weighing in over 300 pounds, Frank Parker comes by the nickname Tank Honest. Frank was first dubbed the Tank while playing football at Christiansburg, Virginia High School, where he was more than just a standout. He was selected first team All-District fullback as well as first team All-District nose guard 2 years in a row. He received a full scholarship to the University of Tennessee but turned it down to pursue a pro wrestling career. Football was not the only sport Frank excelled in. He also won first team All-District in the shot put his senior year of high school, and set the Christiansburg High School bench press record as well as the New River Valley High School bench press record at 18 years old when he bench pressed 405 pounds. That record still stands today. Parker was the first student of WWE Hall of Famer Jimmy Valiant's Boogie's Wrestling Camp in 1992. In 1995, after watching several of his matches, Beau James dubbed Frank Parker Mr. Destruction. Later that year, Frank would form a team with ruthless Roger Anderson and be known as Death and Destruction. For nearly 8 years, they dominated the tag team scene in the eastern states. In his 21 years as a professional, Parker has held over 50 championships, including the Southern States Heavyweight title, the West Virginia Heavyweight title, Southern States Television Championship, the Atlantic Coast Tag Team titles, the Southern States Tag Team titles, the Southeastern Tag Team titles, and dozens of other regional and state titles. Frank has competed in the Mid-Atlantic, Mid-South, Southwest, Midwest, Northeast, and Southern States regions. Parker has also been seen on WWE television and TNA Impact Wrestling pay-per-view. For the past 2 years, Parker has had an alliance with Scott Sterling, and the two have seemed to be an unstoppable force holding the Southern States tag titles. On November 3rd, the duo will team to face the legendary Rock and Roll Express and go after the North American Tag Team titles.
Rock and Roll Express, legendary tag team in professional wrestling, the most decorated tag team in professional wrestling. 30 years of Rockin' Tour. You guys been together longer than Little Richard and Chubby Checker. There comes a time in life when everything must come to an end. When a horse runs its last race before he's put out to pasture. An old man takes his dog out for one last walk before he puts it down and puts it out of his misery. November the 3rd, Mount Carmel, Tennessee. Frank Parker and myself are not coming to celebrate a career. We're coming to end one. We're going to do the right thing and put professional wrestling and its fans out of its misery. Not only Are we coming to take those tag team titles from you, Rock and Roll Express? We're coming to do the right thing. We're coming to end their career, November the 3rd, Mount Carmel, Tennessee. Not only will that be the day that Frank Parker and Scott Sterling pad their own resumes by beating the Rock and Roll Express, but it will be the day that the music dies.
There you heard some big words from Scott Sterling. The profile on Frank the Tank Parker, Mr. Destruction. You also saw a little bit of action of just how down and dirty and how rough these two can be. Now this kind of reminds me over the years of some situations that I have been in. And I'm not picking up the bandwagon of Scott Sterling and Frank Parker. I have neither side in this situation. But I understand where Parker and Sterling are coming from. It's taken the Rock and Roll Express 30 years to make the reputation that they have. Parker and Anderson can make it in one night. I understand where Scott Sterling's coming from because he knows this is the biggest match of his career. I remember a few years ago, myself and KC Thunder, my cousin, we went after the stud stable and everybody told us around town, you're not going to beat the stud stable. You're not going to beat the legends. We beat them right there in the middle of the ring, 1, 2, 3. People told me when I was the champion and Tracy Smothers came after me, you're not going to beat Tracy Smothers. I beat him right there in the middle of the ring. You know, it's a big time event. It's a big time for respect and tradition for the heavyweight title. Let's not overlook Scott Sterling and Frank Parker could be the new North American Tag Team Champions right here representing Southern States Wrestling. If they can get in the ring and do it on their own, then I'll be the first one to praise them. If they get in the ring and do it with the underhanded tactics that we've seen from them over the years, I'll be the first one to call foul on them. But let's also realize this, the Rock and Roll Express, 30 years together. World titles, regional titles, North American titles. There is no other team that's lasted 30 years together. No other team with the fan base of the Rock and Roll Express. No other team like the Rock and Roll Express. So let's take a special look right now at the Rock and Roll Express.
In 1983, Ricky Morton, a second-generation star from Nashville who had been successful in teaming early in his career with Ken Lucas, Sonny King, and Eddie Gilbert, formed a team with another young wrestler he had known for several years, Robert Gibson. Robert is from Pensacola, Florida, and the younger brother of wrestling great Ricky Gibson. The Gibson brothers were one of the top-ranked teams in the world, holding titles everywhere they went. Ricky Gibson's career was shortened by injury, and Robert was looking for a partner who could wrestle with him and adapt to his high-flying, fast-paced speed. The pairing of Morton and Gibson and their rock and roll lifestyle was box office magic, setting records across the Mid-South in 83 and 84. In 1985, they set their sights on the World Tag Team titles and moved to the Mid-Atlantic area. In July of 1985, the Rock and Roll Express pulled off one of the biggest upsets in pro wrestling's history, defeating the hated Russian duo of Ivan Koloff and Crusher Khrushchev for the NWA World Tag Team titles. Ricky and Robert would go on to hold the NWA World Tag titles 7 more times through their career. Over the years, they hold victories over a who's who of tag team wrestling, with wins over teams like the Four Horsemen, the Road Warriors, the Fabulous Freebirds, the Guerreros, the Grapplers, Jim Cornette's Midnight Express, the Nightmares, Randy Savage and Lanny Poffo, the Bruise Brothers, Jim Cornette's Heavenly Bodies. Ricky and Robert have also collected world, national, and regional titles, including 8 times NWA World Tag Team Champions, Smoky Mountain Tag Team Champions, USWA World Tag Team Champions, CWA Tag Team Champions, Mid-South Tag Team Champions, Southern Tag Team Champion, and they are the current and reigning North American Tag Team Champions. No team throughout history has lasted 30 years together. No team throughout the years has as many world titles. No team has had the constant and faithful following of wrestling fans that Ricky and Robert have shared for the last 30 years.
You know, Ricky, some things never change, but we went out there tonight, About 4,000 people. What do? We rock the house. People screaming, rock and roll, rock and roll. Hey, we're coming your way.
And we're coming your way, that's right, because on November the 2nd, we're going to be in Big Stone Gap down at the high school, back in our old territory, Robert, back on our stomping grounds. So no matter who you are, come on down and see us, but let's don't stop there. How about let's go down to Mount Carmel, down at the National Guard Armory on November the 3rd, and we're going to have it in the afternoon. Boys, let me tell you something. When rock and roll get together, all we do is create stormy weather. We'll see you at Big Stone Gap on the 2nd, and we'll see you at Mount Carmel at the National Guard Armory on the 3rd. Double your pleasure.
The word legend is thrown around a lot these days, but it does not always apply. But it does apply when you're talking about the team of Ricky Morton, Robert Gibson, the Rock and Roll Express, who you just saw in action, who you've heard about for weeks, who you've heard tell you for weeks that they're coming back to this area. You know, they first came here in 1985. I want you to go out and find this documentary. Google it. Look for it online. It's called The Good Old Days. It's the history of Jim Crockett Promotions. Ricky and Robert both were on there. It's a big part of their career, winning the world titles under Jim Crockett Promotions, coming to the Mountain Empire, going worldwide, and being seen on cable television, the Rock and Roll Express. Make sure you check that out. And if you think we're living in the past and just talking about the good old days, they're just as current now. Go to any Walmart, any Kmart, anywhere on the mall, anywhere that sells DVDs, Legends of the Mid-South, and you're going to find the Rock and Roll Express on that. If you know, a few years ago they made action figures of the Rock and Roll Express. Some of the fastest selling, sold out. They don't make them anymore. It's almost impossible to find these. The fan base of the Rock and Roll Express is tremendous. 30 years they've lived up to their word. Every time they told the fans they were going to do something, they did it. They're coming here 1 week from tonight. They're excited to meet you. You got to have a VIP ticket to get in early to meet them, get your autographs, get all your stuff signed. Those tickets are on sale right now. Evermore Comics and Games on Eastman Road, right across right there. Same shopping center as Jersey Mike's on Eastman Road. Or go right now, kingofkingsport.com, and buy them right there on the website. When we come back, we're going to tell you just a little bit more about next Sunday night, Mount Carmel.
Hey you, get off the couch and get out to SAMSON'S Gym in St. Paul, Virginia. Dauntless equipment, free weights, Smith & Cable machines, step aerobics, boxing equipment, cardiovascular equipment, tanning bed, drink bar, fitness wear, supplements, and more. Plus an instructor on duty at all times. Call 762-7170. SAMSON'S Gym, your one stop for fitness since 1990.
Attention Mountain Empire. Do you have a business, website, products, or an event to promote? Let us help you reach the masses with TV and internet ads. For just a few dollars a week, we offer commercial spots on Southern States Wrestling, reaching over 150,000 homes in the Mountain Empire and the world with YouTube. Don't wait. Jump on this opportunity now to reach a large audience for an affordable price. Email sswking@aol.com for all the info. Advertising packages you cannot afford to pass up.
Has your computer been slowing down? Are you having problems with email? Or when you go to the internet, is it taking so long to load that it seems like the worldwide wait? I'm Luke Ford, CEO of My Computer Works. We help people just like you. With one easy call, our friendly US-based technicians will connect directly to your computer and fix the problem for you. Think about it. No strange computer geeks coming into your home, and no more lugging your PC into one of those superstores. This isn't some magical piece of software that makes you do all the work. This is a real live, knowledgeable US-based computer technician that will patiently help you fixing your personal computer problems for you. Call today and we'll help you today, right now. If your computer is slowing down, trouble printing, or you just can't seem to send and receive email, don't wait. No more slow computer, no more frustration. Call the number on your screen to get help right now. My Computer Works. Does yours?
Now let's get ready to boogie. It's the 30 Years of Rocking Tour. Ricky Morton, Robert Gibson, the Rock and Roll Express return to the Mountain Empire. Saturday night, November the 2nd, Union High School, Big Stone Gap, Virginia, bell time 7:30. Sunday, November the 3rd, 6 p.m., Armed Forces Center Armory, Mount Carmel, Tennessee, just minutes from downtown Kingsport.
so fast to catch a plane for the next match. Aims from the last. Win or lose, darling, here you are. Honey, here you are. Tell me, how does it feel to be a wrestling queen? You're just a young girl, but my all that you've seen. You said that you wanted it all. You were gonna go so fast and far. Win or lose, darling, you're a star. Honey, you're a star. That's what you are. What you are.
Well, the old watch tells me we're almost out of time on this program of Southern States Wrestling. Thank you for watching us on television locally here on Tri-Cities TNN/Heartland Network. Thank you for watching us around the world on the World Wide Web, wherever you may be. Keep sending those emails and comments in, letting us know what you think of Southern States Wrestling. We aim to please. Don't forget, this coming Sunday, 1 week from right now, action is going to be taking place in Mount Carmel, Tennessee, just west of Kingsport at the Armed Forces Center Armory, 399 Highway 11W. It's the Fall Spectacular. The legendary Rock and Roll Express defends the North American Tag Team titles against Scott Sterling and Frank Parker, the Southern States champions. Southern States Heavyweight Champion Eric Darkstorm battles his arch rival and Kyle Matthews. We're going to start the process to crown a new television champion. You just saw her coming out of break there. The Southern States Ladies Champion Misty James is going to defend the belt right there in Mount Carmel, Tennessee. Alex Payne Stratton makes his SSW debut. Thorne returns to Southern States Wrestling, and a whole lot more. It's going to be a big time week. A lot of stuff's going on. We're going to be celebrating my 25th year in the profession this week. Make sure if you're taking your kids out trick-or-treating to be careful. Maybe just take them to a local church and do the truck-or-treat, because everybody's looking to stay out of the streets, keep their kids safe, and what the heck is going on?
I finally got him. Happy Halloween, everyone. I hope you guys have a safe trick-or-treat, and I'll see you in Big Stone Gap on November 2nd and Mount Carmel, Tennessee on November 3rd.
She never gets me. Big Stone this Saturday, 1 week from tonight, Mount Carmel. God bless each and every one of you watching. It's Beau James saying so long from the Volunteer State.